Hey everybody, it's Debbie O'Neill of Scrap Me Quick Designs in the Let's Learn Cricut Explore Facebook group, and I get asked the question all the time, what adhesives should I use with my various die cuts that I'm making with my Cricut Explore machine? And I will tell you, I have been doing this for a long time, crafting with die cuts, and I have tried just about every adhesive there is out there, and I have narrowed it down to a few of my very favorites that I'm going to share with you today. Now, adhesives are totally a personal choice. Everybody has a different preference for what types of adhesive they like to use, but I wanted to show you what do I use that I know works, sticks well, and is easy to use. So those are the three criteria that I have for working with various adhesives with my die cuts. So let's get started. I'm going to do a little infomercial, if you will, of the a bunch of the adhesives that I use, and kind of tell you a little bit about why I use those. Now, I know you're not going to remember all this, so what I've done is I have created a PDF of the best adhesives to use with die cuts and put it on my website at Scrap Me Quick Designs. If you would like to pop on over, you'll be able to find that up in my freebies section. While you're there, if you haven't signed up for my email, please do so. It's up at the top right corner of my website, and that way you don't miss any of my classes, any of my tips on using die cuts, or any of the other things that I share with you, and I hope you'll do that. Anyway, so let's get started. Let me show you what we're talking about. Okay, so I'm going to show you some of my favorite adhesives that I use and why I use them, and just to kind of give you an idea. So I'm just going to start with dry adhesives. So you have things that are considered wet adhesives, and then you have things that are considered dry adhesives. You have the dry adhesives are things like your tape runners. So I use my ATG gun, which has a lot, let me move that it has a 36 yards of adhesive on a roll. So I get a lot of die cutting sticking power by using the ATG gun. I used to think that, oh my gosh, this is just too big to handle, and you know, I would never want one. Well, now I own like 3 of them. So I really like it, and you can purchase this at Michael's. Sometimes they carry them. I also gave you links on that document on the best adhesives to use for die cuts document that I have on my website at scrapmequickdesigns.com that you can go download and keep handy. And I tell you which adhesives are best for which types of die cut applications. And anyway, so my ATG is a tape runner. The other tape runner that I do use is a Tombow mono adhesive tape runner, and this is refillable. So it comes in, you buy one, which is the applicator, all right, and then you pop this open, and you would add your refill, a new refill, just slip it in here, okay? So this is really easy to use. They're small. They are great to take when you go to crops and so forth. Sometimes you'll see me using this on my class videos because the handle doesn't get in the way. Like when I have this up, you guys are only going to see the handle of my ATG. So I often use the little tape runner. So you want to make sure that if you get refills that you're getting the permanent adhesive. Do not get the removable. You will not be happy with that. It'll fall off eventually. Even though they say it eventually becomes permanent, that has not been my experience with it, and so I always make sure I get the permanent adhesive, and it says permanent on there. You guys may not be able to see it, but you want permanent. Also, on the ATG tape, this is a 1/4 inch tape gun, and I use the permanent tape. Alright, so, and those are all things you can buy at the craft store. Alright, and I've also given you some online resources because I know some of you guys don't live anywhere where there are craft stores. I'm so sorry for you. Okay, so the next thing that I use a lot of to stick things down would be my glue dots. Okay, now glue dots come I like the Glue Dot brand, okay? There's ThermoWeb has a Zott brand or whatever, and I'm just not super crazy about those. They're okay, but I am a Glue Dots girl. So any little pieces that I need to put down, I use this is the mini size. These are the Glue Dots mini. They're 3/16 of an inch, and you get 252 of them. Now, why are mine in these packages instead of on a roll? I like it because on the roll I'm always having to take too many off. This way they come on a sheet and it's perforated, and all I have to do is tear that one thing that I want off. You peel that back and the glue dot's right there, and I stick my project on it and put it down, and I'm good to go. So I have just learned that I really like these. Plus it's not a big bulky box, and they fit really great in my my craft tote. Okay, that was another reason. And then I also use the 3/8 inch. Okay, so those are the two that I always have, and they're great for sticking down like little eyes or anything that you just have a smaller piece that you want to put down, and maybe it's a little bit too delicate for you to, you know, use your big tape gun on it. I use this. The glue dots are also great for if you're going to add any embellishments to your projects. They work great for that. All right, so let's say, oh, and this is the Glue Dots tape. It's like a tape runner. I will tell you that the little glue dots on there, but as you're rolling one, as you put one on, the other one's coming up, and maybe it's just me, but I have put way too many glue dots on my project because of this, and had to try to peel them off. So I don't really recommend this. But if you do see it, and maybe you're better at it than I am, but I tend to go with these in the packages over the ones in the box or the ones on the roll. All right. Now, the other thing that I wanted to talk about was foam pop dots. Okay, so when you want to add dimension to your projects, and you want it to pop up, and you know, if you've taken any of my classes, or you have seen any of my projects usually have a lot of dimension, and that is because I like to lift the layers so that you have more depth on your project. It's not just the layers aren't just glued to each other. Some of the top layers are popped up, so it just adds a little bit of fun to it. So I use these pop dots. Now the ones I like are from Forever in Time. I gave you guys a link to where I buy these on Amazon, and I tend to buy the 1/2 inch ones, and there's squares and there are circles, okay? And they are perfect because they're double-sided adhesive. I'm just going to peel one off here real quick. Sorry for the noise. But some people have not seen foam dots. I don't know where you've been living. Anyway, so there's a waxy sheet here, okay, and the dots are sticking on it. I just take one up. Now it's sticky on this side. I put that on my project, and then I would just peel off the other sticky part. Okay, so this is double-sided adhesive foam dots, tape, whatever you want to call it. And so I do like this, and I like the ones that are already pre-cut into the shapes, because they're easy for me just to grab real quick. Okay, but I also use the foam tape. And a foam tape is just like this, except that it comes in a roll. So when I have, this is the one from Close to My Heart that I use, and you get a pack with this size and then a smaller size, and it goes a long way. There's a lot on here. But if I have something that it's a long strip that I need some stability on it, a lot of those like 3D boxes and things, if you wanted to add some dimension, or maybe you're adhering a frame over the top of another project underneath, you might want something that is more stable underneath than just a bunch of dots. Then you would use a foam tape. Okay, so same thing, it's sticky on one side, it's got the wax layer. So that's another thing that I keep in my arsenal. Now, I know if you have ever seen me in any of my live videos where I'm showing you guys projects that I'm making, and it involves any type of layering, putting boxes together, that type of thing, my famous pop-up box that everybody has, the free cut file that I created for you. I use score tape, all right? Someone would say that I have an addiction to score tape. Well, you know, it's not a bad addiction. It's double-sided adhesive, it's acid-free, it's heat-resistant, and you get about 27 yards in a package. I love the 1/4 inch, okay? And it is that I like the 1/4 inch because it is perfect for most of the tabs on your Cricut projects that you cut out. There's, you know, when you have tabs where you're sticking things together, they're almost always a 1/4 inch, and this fits perfectly on there. Plus, I can lay it onto my project, and then I can just tear this with my finger and my thumb, okay? I don't have to get my scissors out. So that's why I really love score tape, and it helps me work faster. And this is super duper strong tape. So instead of a tape runner is good for just sticking the regular things down. But when you need something that's going to really stand up, maybe it's those 3D boxes and you're going to be opening and closing them and that type of thing, you want something that's not going to pop open. You want something that once you put it down, it's going to stay. And that's when you want score tape, okay? It comes in a bunch of different widths. I always have in my arsenal, as you can see here, I always have the 1/4 inch, the 1/8 inch. The 1/8 inch is super thin, and it's really good if I've just got a little strip of something I want to use, and then the 1/2 inch. So some of the projects, when I'm putting them down, I may need a little bit more tape, so it's good to have the 1/2 inch. All right, and I do not see these sold in stores. I buy mine on Amazon, and I've given you the link in that document that shows you where I buy mine. And the best deal I've found is you get 2 rolls of the 1/4 inch and 1 roll of the 1/2 inch for like 17 bucks. And this stuff lasts a long time. Look how much is on that roll. Okay, so you definitely want to check out the score tape. Now, I will give a little bit of airtime here to the red line tape. The red line tape is like the score tape, and it's called red line only because it has a red plastic carrier. It's not actually red, it's clear, okay? And I know you can find this at the craft stores, and it'll work okay. The problem with this is that I can't tear it. I absolutely have to juggle and get my scissors out and cut it, and it's just a little bit more difficult. So, but this is what they say. If someone says I use double-sided red line tape, this is what they're talking about. It's not actually red, just the liner's red. The tape is actually clear. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Plus, it's often hard to get the plastic off of this. Yeah, there we go. You got to really try. I've already opened this one up a little bit so that I could get it on camera. But see, the tape is actually clear. Okay, so there's that tape. Then you have, another dry adhesive that you would have would be any of your Xyron machines. Now this is the little X Xyron, and I love this for when I'm doing letters, like if I have little alphabets, or I have tiny pieces like eyes, or anything that's small, or even a long strip. Let's say I have a border. Most of the time my border's not going to be, this is about 2 inches I think. Most of my time my borders aren't going to be bigger than this, so they fit in really well, and it pulls through. This has an adhesive tape runner that you replace. This is a cartridge. It's really easy to do, and you put your material in, and then you pull the tape, and it rolls out, and then you tear that off, and then your project would be right here. You would rub it on here, take off the little liner. I'm only showing you this because a lot of people are confused about how this works. Okay, so it has a plastic liner, and of course while I'm on camera it doesn't want to come off. It has a plastic piece over it, a clear plastic piece, and then it has this waxy liner. So you'll pull this apart, and your project will be here, and your whatever it is you've done, and that's the part. It leaves the sticky on the back side of that and not on the front side. Okay, so this is great for little things. They also make a huge one, which I'm not going to get out right now because I have 2 different sizes. I have the 5-inch, which means that the space here is 5 inches wide, and it has a crank on it that I push the projects through. Sometimes I've used that when I have larger pieces that I want to do. Then they also have a 9-inch one. I do have the 9-inch one. I do use it occasionally, probably not as much as I use the 5-inch, and certainly not as much as I use my Xyron sticker maker. Okay, I have like 3 of these. I have a beautiful Teresa Collins one that's pink and white, and I have a gold one that I got on HSN. Anyway, don't even get me started. I use these a lot. Okay, so now those are what we call dry adhesives. All right, now let's talk about wet adhesives. Wet adhesives could be your glue sticks. Okay, now there again, if you've taken classes from me and we use a glue stick, I go through this big long thing where I explain to you, don't just use any old glue stick. You want to use one that is a permanent glue that was made particularly for paper, and you want something that is not super waxy, like those Scotch, you know, like the kids' Scotch glue sticks or the Elmer's glue sticks or whatever. Those, if you have ever used that on a project, eventually that stuff just dries up and your project starts falling off. All right, so the 2 that I recommend that I know will stay stuck once you put it down, it's down, it dries, it's good. I've got projects I made years ago using these 2 products and they still are in perfect condition. Okay, I won't steer you wrong, I promise. Okay, so this is the Tombow Mono Glue Sticks. All right, I think I've had this one for a little while. I think they just changed this so that they're all yellow now. This brown is now yellow, but it's the same thing. You just want it. It's the Tombow Mono Glue Sticks. All right, and these work great. It's acid free, strong bond. It's washable and it's child safe, so that's a good thing to know. So it is non-toxic. And anyway, so this is one glue stick. The one that I probably use the most though is my ThermoWeb Super Stick. Okay, and this one, I know it's kind of funky, isn't it? A fun shape. Anyway, but this one has a wider circumference here, I guess you would say. All right, so when I'm using this, I tend to use it when I'm adhering like paper to chipboard or things like that. I tend to use it for that, so I want something that's going to cover more of a larger surface. And this stuff is amazing. It goes on smooth, it stays perfectly, and I gave you guys a link to this. I do see this at Michael's and Hobby. No, I don't know if I saw it at Hobby Lobby. I know I saw it at Michael's, and they come in a 2-pack. Okay, so it's a pretty good value. Use your coupon. But this one is one that I definitely would recommend. So these are the 2 glue sticks I would give my seal of approval for your paper crafting. All right. Now, let's talk about liquid glues that you would use. I tend to use a lot of my close to my heart liquid glass because I like the little tiny precision tip that's on this. So if I just need a tiny amount, like in my fall wreath class that I just did, some of those stems that we had to glue together, it was just a tiny strip of paper, and I needed to add just a tiny amount of liquid glue to hold it together. This was perfect for me to do that. Okay, so yeah, you can see in the picture now, right? Anyway, so I tend to use this one a lot. It dries clear, it dries quickly, and it adheres really well. Once it's down, it's down. The other glue that I use is a Scotch Quick Dry adhesive, and this is my old bottle because I love this cap. All right, and but now I think it comes with just a white cap. It doesn't have this clear cover on it. So, but it's the same glue, Scotch Quick Dry adhesive. I think the other one says Scotch Quick Tacky Glue or something. They rebranded it, but it's the same glue. So it's acid free. It's dries quickly. It's photo safe. It is for paper. And it works really well too. And it also has a precision tip, but not quite as fine as I have on my close to my heart liquid glass. Okay, so those are the 2 liquid glues that I would recommend. I'm not a big fan of the zip dry glue. I know some people really like that for paper crafting. My issue with that is if you do not keep that lid on that glue secure really, really well, what ends up happening is that glue dries out and it becomes like rubber, and then you've wasted $7.99 or whatever it is for that bottle of zip dry glue. So not a big fan of zip dry glue. And then there's a three-way Beacons clear glue that sometimes you'll see in different classes that you take. they recommend this Beacon's zip dry glue, this Beacon's 3-way glue. I know I have some here, but the thing with that is that glue smells like really bad. It has a real odor, so I don't recommend that one. I'm not into having anything that is going to overpower me while I'm crafting or interrupting my snacking, right? Okay, so the other two things that I use religiously, and you will see me using these a lot, I use the Close to My Heart Bonding Memories glue. It's a two-way zip, it's a dual action glue pen is what they call it, and it's like the Zig 2-way glue pen, okay? I like this one with the chisel tip, and you'll see me in my videos, alright? You'll see me tapping this and adding the glue. When you add it, it's blue. See how the tip's blue? When you add it, it's blue. When it dries perfectly clear. So this way you can see where you've added that glue, alright? I love these. I go through a ton of them. They are probably my favorite thing for adding any type of die cut that's more intricate, like on the Close to My Heart artistry cartridge. See, like a shape like this where you've got all these little tiny cuts. This, I would use this, and I would be able to tap around on each of those, okay, and then be able to lay that down really nicely, okay. I would do that. I use this for something this fine and this kind of a shape more so than I do the Xyron, because with the Xyron, when I peel that up, I'm going to end up with all this extra adhesive on there, and it's kind of a pain. So I use this. Now again, it is personal preference. A lot of people like to use the Xyrons for those intricate cuts, and then they deal with the, I call them sticker boogies. But anyway, it does work. So I use this a lot. The other thing that I use is my broad tip glue pen. Alright, so it's Close to My Heart Bonding Memories. EK Success makes one too. And this has a big chisel tip on it. Okay, so same thing. This is a new one, so I just used up the old one. It's blue, so the ink would be blue. The glue would be blue when it comes out, and so when it comes out, it's blue, so it is more or less removable at that point. I mean, you could wipe it off if you needed to, and but this is what I use to re-sticky my Cricut mats. Okay, so sometimes after you've taken care of them and you've used them for a long time, that adhesive just finally gives out on you. You can actually use one of these broad tip glue pens and add a thin layer of glue, and you would just go like this along your mat, just add the glue on. I think I have a video on that. Anyway, so you would just add a thin layer of the Bonding Memories glue and let it dry, and then your sticky is back on your mat and you can keep using it. So that's why I have one of these. It's also good with this big chisel tip, so if I have something larger that I'm trying to adhere, and I want to use a liquid glue on it because I want to be able to fudge it a little bit and move it around slightly before I set it down and it's permanent. Like with a tape runner, once you lay it down, it's down. It's really hard to kind of pull it back up. So sometimes I'll use this big chisel tip too. Okay, so the other thing that people ask me about is, ooh, how about Modge Podge? Okay, I do like Modge Podge. I like Modge Podge for certain things. Modge Podge is made for you to do Modge Podge to Modge Podge application. What I mean by that is that Modge Podge does not play well with other glues. Alright, so if you're going to use Modge Podge, you want to use it on the back of your project to adhere it. And then if you're going to add Modge Podge on the top of it, maybe for a protective surface or whatever, you want to make sure that you have not used a tape runner on the bottom layer, or you haven't used a glue stick, or you haven't used any other liquid glue, because somehow Modge Podge decides, I don't want to stick on top of that. And so your projects do not work as well. So you want to make sure that if you use Modge Podge, it's great for, like, if you're adding die cuts on canvas or whatever, you can coat the canvas with some Modge Podge in the back of your die cut, and then lay it on, let it dry, and then you could put another coat of Modge Podge over the whole thing, and then it sticks fine, okay? And it gives a little bit of protective coating. This blue one is a dishwasher safe, and it's gloss, and it is what you use to add glitter to the stems of the glasses, which I'm going to be showing in another video. Anyway, but sometimes people ask about the Modge Podge, so I want to make it clear. Just be careful with the Modge Podge. And it's kind of, you know, it's really wet and it's kind of messy to use. I certainly recommend using the other glues that I've shown you over that. Now, the very last thing I want to talk to you guys about is, and I know this is getting long, but you were the ones asking me for a detailed video on what I use. Sometimes when you add your tape runners to your projects, you get a little bit of extra glue on the side, or maybe you get a little extra Xyron sticker on there, or you get a little extra wet glue that dries hard. You want to have a eraser. This is an adhesive eraser. I think that Xyron used to make these, but I haven't seen them lately. We carry them at close to my heart. They're only $2.95. I have had this forever. And basically what it does is that you would then just rub it on that glue, that excess glue, and it comes right up. It is amazing. It's just real rubbery. You can see it here. It's very rubbery. And this one looks super dirty because I've used it a ton of times. And then as it starts getting too much glue stuck onto it, I just rub it off. Okay, I just literally just peel the glue right off of it and I can keep using it. So this is what they call an adhesive remover, and I know a couple of you guys were asking me about them, and this is something else that I keep in my my adhesive arsenal. And then of course there's always hot glue guns, so I do have a hot glue gun and I use that for some of my projects as well, not for just regular die cutting, but if I want to adhere like my flowers that I made for the fall wreath class, we use some hot glue on the back of this to glue it onto the wreath. Okay, so that would be another glue that I would have. But that's it. That is Debbie's favorite glues to use with die cutting. And if you will pop on over to my website at scrapmequickdesigns.com and go up to the freebie section, you'll see that I have that PDF for you there. And you could download that and then have your own list. And I've got it broken out with which type of die cuts, which types of glues would be good ones for you to use for certain types of die cutting. So whether it's a large surface die cut, or if it's more intricate die cut, or if it's little tiny pieces, or whatever. So I kind of broke it down for you for that. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know if you have any questions. I am more than happy to help you. And I hope you guys can find the adhesives that work best for you, because like I said, adhesives are a personal preference. Some of the things I like may not be the things you like. I just know that these work and they're good and I like using them. I will talk to you later. Have a great day. Come see me over at scrapmequickdesigns.com. Bye.